The devil within. Claire, a single mother juggling her demanding job and raising her 7-year-old son, Ethan, had noticed subtle changes in him over the past week. Once a cheerful and affectionate child, Ethan had grown eerily quiet. He spent hours staring blankly at the wall, his once bright blue eyes now dull and hollow. One night, she found him crouched in a corner, whispering. When she gently touched his shoulder, Ethan turned sharply, his eyes momentarily glowing red. "It's not Ethan," he said in a voice that wasn't his own. She staggered back, her heart pounding. She convinced herself she was imagining things. But the following night shattered her denial. The sound of a low growl woke her in the middle of the night. Following the noise, she crept into the kitchen and froze. There was Ethan, perched on the counter, his mouth smeared with blood. At his feet lay their pet cat, lifeless and torn apart. "Ethan!" Claire screamed, tears streaming down her face. Her son turned toward her with an unnerving grin, baring teeth far too sharp for a human child. "I was hungry," he said calmly, his voice dripping with malice. Terrified, Claire locked herself in her bedroom and called Father Daniels, a local priest known for handling cases of possession. "It's not my son," she sobbed into the phone. "Something evil has taken him." Father Daniels arrived the next morning, carrying a worn Bible and a vial of holy water. The house was eerily quiet, the air thick with a sense of dread. As they approached Ethan's room, they found the door ajar. Inside, Ethan sat on the floor, humming a haunting tune. The priest began reciting prayers, his voice firm and resolute. Ethan laughed, a chilling, guttural sound that echoed through the house. "You think your words can banish me? I'm older than this world, priest. You are nothing to me." As Father Daniels continued, the room shook violently. Objects flew across the room, and the air grew frigid. Ethan's body contorted unnaturally, his limbs bending in ways that seemed impossible. But then, for a moment, the boy's face softened, and he looked at his mother with tear-filled eyes. "Mommy, help me," he whispered before the demonic grin returned. The battle lasted for hours, but the demon refused to leave. Defeated, Father Daniels advised Claire to leave the house and seek refuge elsewhere. But Claire couldn't abandon her son. That night, Claire woke to find Ethan standing at the foot of her bed. "I won't hurt you, Mommy," he said, his voice disturbingly gentle. Before she could react, he grabbed her with inhuman strength and dragged her into the basement. When Claire regained consciousness, she was bound to a chair in the damp, dark cellar. Ethan sat across from her, his eyes glowing in the dim light. "I love you, Mommy," he said with chilling sincerity. "That's why I won't kill you. But you can't leave. You're mine now." Days turned into weeks as Claire remained a prisoner in her own home. Ethan brought her food, speaking to her as if everything were normal. But his demeanor would shift unpredictably, oscillating between moments of affection and terrifying outbursts. Claire's resolve never wavered. She secretly untied herself one night while Ethan was asleep and managed to call Father Daniels again. This time, the priest brought reinforcements, a group of experienced exorcists determined to save the boy. The final confrontation was a harrowing ordeal. The team entered the basement, chanting prayers in unison. Ethan shrieked, his voice blending with guttural growls and unearthly wails. The walls trembled, and a foul stench filled the air. With a final, deafening scream, the demon was expelled. Ethan collapsed, unconscious but alive. The room fell silent, and the oppressive darkness lifted. Claire held her son tightly, tears of relief streaming down her face. But as they climbed the stairs, Ethan paused and looked back at the basement with a faint smile. "He says he'll be back," he whispered.